Baki, the Invincible Samurai, episode 5. You know we gotta get to it. Oh yeah. Alright, so remember, in the last episode, Baki had told Miyamoto that he's naive and he throws a jab. Now, at the beginning of this episode, he throws a jab, but then it goes to a flashback where Yujiro is training young Baki on the actual jab because he's telling him, listen, you can be as fast as you want, but there is one move that is always going to make direct contact, and it is that jab. And he throws a jab at Baki, and Baki's face is like going backwards because of the force of the jab that Yujiro, threw at him. And he tells him, hey, practice it because it is the fastest technique in all of martial arts. And then it fast forwards to where Baki throws a jab, hits Miyamoto with a direct hit, turn Miyamoto upside down, and Miyamoto lands on his knees. Boy, Miyamoto is so dazed, his eyes is going in all directions. Dog, he is stunned. He don't know what the hell just happened. And Baki tells him, you went in kill counts, but within the last 10 seconds, I could have killed you 3 times. Boy. And then Miyamoto agrees with Baki, but he tells Baki that he saw his jab coming. Baki is like, so you mean to tell me you could have dodged my jab? He said, yeah, you can't call yourself a real martial artist unless you can dodge a jab. This is getting interesting. So they cordially introduce themselves to each other, and Miyamoto says, Baki, I'm not about to go easy on you. And then he starts generating these invisible swords. So Baki sees the 2 swords, right? I don't know how, because of intuition or whatever have you. But Baki's like, okay, I'm obliged to this. So Baki gets ready to throw a jab, and Miyamoto steps in and catches the jab. Like he saw it coming before Baki actually threw it. And then Miyamoto, with his other hand, slices him with the invisible sword. Even though Baki is feeling the pain from that cut from shoulder to shoulder, he tries to throw an uppercut and Miyamoto catches it with his foot. Full video is on the channel as we speak, but go ahead and like the video right now, subscribe to the channel, and let's continue. And he ended up using all of that force, and he lands on top of a roof, right? Well, he tells Baki, hey, you did better than I expected, but I think I'm gonna have some more fun. And he just takes off. Baki ends up passing out right in front of Tokugawa. All right, so Miyamoto is doing this exploration in the city, and he finally sees a TV for the first time. So of course, it's been 400 years since his passing, and he's like, what is this person moving? Everybody's acting like this is normal. Then he sees like a train cart, and he's like, damn, this shit is moving so fast. And he's looking at skyscrapers. He's like, humans can build something this tall? So he is completely perplexed right now. Now, Miyamoto is starting to get agitated, y'all, because he does not know what to do, where to go. The culture is different from, his era, but he composes himself. Then he gets stopped by some police officers. He don't know what police officers are. I don't think it's going to end well for them. Stay tuned. So these cops stopped him for the dumbest reasons ever, and they should pay for this, and I think they are going to pay for it. They told him, hey, you walking around with no shoes on, right? And then they start asking for his, name, his date of birth, and all of these other questions. So he tells them exactly when and where he was born, and of course, it's back in the day, right? 12th century, and they're like, dude, you on drugs, you need to come with us. So one of them reaches for him, and he's like, please, don't touch me. Man, he done chopped one in the neck and then punches another one, knocked them boys out in like half of a second. So Baki has finally woke up from being knocked out by Miyamoto, and he's just thinking about the interaction that they had, him being sliced across his body by Miyamoto, how Miyamoto was able to predict Baki's moves and being able to neutralize him. And then Tokugawa finally sat Baki down to explain to him on how he ended up bringing Miyamoto back to life by, of course, cloning him again. But Baki doesn't really understand. I mean, he 16, 17 years old, and trying to tell him about the science behind bringing Miyamoto back? He ain't gonna get that shit. So Baki really starts thinking about Miyamoto's ability to predict his opponent's move. And it makes sense because back in the day, you know, when you used to duel, it was to the death. So you would have to develop that prediction of what your opponent can do, because if you don't, you could lose your life right then and there. And then it goes back to Miyamoto. So two more cops come and they try to apprehend him, right? One of them got his arm behind his back and then got his arm, you know, around his neck. So then he ends up dropping both of them, like, man, get your ass off of me, and they down on the ground. So Baki goes back to training to improve his kata. Now, what is kata? It's your martial arts style, your technique that leaves a lasting impression to not only your opponents that you are facing, but to the world, the people who will be studying you or are studying you currently. And then he starts fighting with the shadow version of Miyamoto, and he's already been defeated 2 times. Yo, Miyamoto has made the news, y'all. He dropped 5 officers. So the first officer tries to swing on him, but he dodges and he has his invisible sword and he slices him, drops him. And then another officer tries to come from behind and grabs him, right? And then he grabs the officer by the nuts. Officer is down, and then one of them tried to hit Miyamoto with his baton, but you know he has that predictive skill. So as soon as he tries, Miyamoto grabs that baton, slices him with the baton, right? Drops the baton, walks to the last 2, raises up his invisible sword, slices them down, and walks off casually. So Doppo and Katsumi, they're sitting down watching Miyamoto on the news, and they're like, damn, that is really Miyamoto. And then you got Jacko steroid taking but injecting stuff in his neck, and it's like, oh my god, he's so strong. Shibukawa and Motobe, they're in their own dojo and they're getting prepared as well. Now this is the crazy part. Motobe is saying that he needs to protect Baki, Doppo, Shibukawa, and Yujiro from Miyamoto. And then the episode ends. This thing is about to pick up. Oh yes, this series is about to go up 1,000%, because you know each one of these fighters are going to get their opportunity to fight Miyamoto, and I cannot wait to see what happens. Like and subscribe for the next video, y'all. I'm out. Peace.